What's up YouTube? Georgia Silver Hunter back, and today we're going to do something we've never done on the channel before, and it should be pretty obvious based on what's on camera. We're doing a $1,000 $1 bill hunt. I'm excited to get into this because I've never done it before, so let's jump into it. So before we jump into it, we should probably figure out what it is we're looking for. And I went ahead and updated my search list, which you can find in the description down below, with a whole new section on dollar bills. I wish I could take credit for all this content, but Gemini on Google helped me generate most of this stuff, and it was all freely available on the internet. I just compiled it and put it in my document. So we'll be looking for fancy serial numbers like radars, ladders, partial ladders, solids where we have all one digit. We'll be looking for low digit bills, which are pretty self-explanatory. This one's called like the old school factor, where we've got red or blue label notes, which we'll talk about a little bit more in just a minute. Production errors, of course, where we have ink smears. We've got off-center prints, those kinds of things. Like I said, we'll talk about this on one of the other pages here, but we've got red notes, yellow notes, blue notes, and brown notes that we'll be looking for, as well as web notes. As always, condition is always king. Now, these are all going to be circulated bills, so none of them are going to be like crisp uncirculated, but we may find some nicer bills in there. On the document, we also have really good examples of all the things that we're going to be looking for. And where did I think it's on one of the next pages where we get into, where is it? Here we go. Like blue seal notes, if you didn't know, those are called silver certificates, and the seal is that little number or that little imprint right there on the bill. That's the seal. We want to look for that in a color other than green, and the blue notes are silver certificates. That means they were backed by physical silver. And again, you guys can read all this by downloading the document. We have red seal notes, which were United States notes. These were issued directly by the U.S. Treasury rather than the Federal Reserve. I find more red seal notes than any of the rest of these. Yellow seal notes were also silver certificates, and they were emergency issue. I don't think I've ever found one of those in the wild. And of course, there is a table on here that talk about the difference between the red, yellow, and so on and so forth. The brown is the only one we didn't mention, but those were old Hawaii notes. And again, never seen one of those in the wild, and they're super rare. The last thing of interest is the web note, and I'll probably talk about those a little bit more if we happen to come across one that we can look for. They were only minted or only printed in 3 years, so the 1988 A series, 1993, and 1995. And a web note was just a different type of printing that they tried out during those years. And so they were actually made a little differently, and they have a couple of markers on them that indicate that they were made with the web printing method rather than the typical sheet printing. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and start getting into these straps. I'll probably do one live on camera, and the rest I'll just go through like I normally do on my coin roll hunts, and we'll see how it goes from there. Okay, well, here is strap number one, and by strap it means it's 100 $1 bills. So we've got $100 here. And I'm going to go through these quickly and just see if any of the serial numbers jump out at me. Again, we're looking for fancy serial notes more than anything, and we're going to pay special attention to those years that we could have a web note. And I'm just going to pull my document down here to make it easier to see. And the year we're looking for is here under series, so that's a 2021 bill, so we don't care so much about that. Well, there is two bills in sequence. So there's 57087, 299, and 298. So if you are somebody who collects bills in series, here's actually another one. No, I'm sorry. It's not another one. These two were in series. I'll go ahead and put these aside. It's not the kind of thing I would typically hang on to, but neat to find that in a circulated grouping here. 2006 with a little writing on it. And what I'll probably do on a second pass is check the reverses for anything that looks out of place. So some people hang on to these if they've got multiple of the same digits, like 777s. I like to keep them if we've got, 5 or 6 of the same digit. So again, I'll put it aside, but nothing that I will hang on to long term. This kind of has a weird printing error on it. I don't know if it's an error per se, but you can see that 3 is actually kind of over printed on this bill. So I'm going to put that aside and do a little research on that at the end of the strap. That just kind of jumps out at me. There's 111s. It's like almost a 1-800 number there. So like this is something that I think people would find kind of interesting or might want to hang on to, especially if you play like dollar bill poker. We have a full house here, 221111, but we also have 5 ones in the same note. It's a 2021 bill, kind of interesting. With the fold in the corner, there's definitely no value there, but still kind of an interesting serial number. All right, we've got our first star note, and I didn't mention that in the opening of the video, but star notes were actually, this is currency that was used to replace currency that was destroyed by the U.S. Mint. And I'll go ahead, there are websites where you can go online, you can look up these star notes based on putting in the serial number and the series, and it'll tell you how rare that bill was and how small the print size was. And some of these star notes can be worth quite a bit of money if they were part of a really small run and if they have a really cool serial number to boot. So that's kind of cool. Here's another triple digit here. 3 5s. I'll put that one aside because we've only got a couple 4 digits, I think 0s, 9s, and 5s. Kind of a little bit of a radar here. And a radar is where you have a sequence of numbers where they basically, it's the same from beginning to end. So if we got rid of the 794, we have 04640. Now, for it to be a real radar bill, you want to go from the first digit to the last digit, and it basically is like a palindrome of itself. So again, almost a radar. It's kind of a partial radar. Lots of 2017 A's and 2021s in here. 578, 58695. I think it's funny that this strap, they're all George Washington facing up, because I know not all the straps are this way. So somebody went through this and put them in the right order. It wasn't me. Another 3 digits there, 11166. That'd be a full house if you were playing poker. This really wants to be a radar. We got 4 numbers, but 5836, 8635. So almost a radar. One, two, three, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. Almost a full broken ladder. Missing the 6. Kind of neat. Another almost full ladder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 6, 7, 8. That's my digit. Zero, 2, we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's kind of a ladder that's out of order. I'll put that aside. Fortunately, we got 2 zeros with it. All right, well, that's going to do it for strap number 1. We did pull a couple of bills. I stopped us on each one. I'm not going to hang on to all of them, but I'm going to keep track of our finds here, strap by strap. There we go with strap number 2. Strap number 2, we got a 2013 that's almost a binary note, 37737837. So it's a trinary. We've only got 3 digits. That 8 had been a 7, would have been a little bit cooler. We'll pull that aside. Another one of these bills, still strap number 2. It's almost like this 2 had been struck twice. I got to look up what causes that. I'm not quite sure. Here's another one. Actually, these are sequence bills from 2017A. 252, 34752, 2 and 3, and that 2 is heavier on both notes, but not heavier on this end. So, kind of interesting. All right, strap 2, our second star note. We'll check that out. We'll put that up on the screen, how rare it is. And we're a little bit off center for the cut, but not too bad. So kind of neat. Second star note. All right, well, that does it for strap number 2. We've got 5 bills we pulled aside for that. Again, probably not too many keepers, except maybe the star note. All right, well, let's get into strap number 3. This is kind of it's not a super repeater here in strap number 3, but 721, and we end with 5 4s in a row. That's probably the biggest repeater we have found so far in the hunt. We're almost there. We're here just a couple of bills later. We got 4 3s with another one, so 5 3s in the note, but 4 in a row. Very nice. We got 3 4s. That wraps up strap number 3 with just 2 notes of interest. Our almost super repeater there. We got 5 4s here. We got 5 3s there, just not in order. So just pulling 2 bills out of strap number 3. Okay, well, let's get into strap number 4, and I'm hoping to see something other than 2017s and 2021s. We found the occasional 2013 bill and a couple of 2009 bills. I'd love to find some notes we can check out for being a web note. So I think this is our first, and I always call this a broken ladder. I don't know if that's the right word for this. So that you seasoned bill hunters out there, let me know. I'll pull this aside. But we have the sequence 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's not in order, but we do have the entire sequence in the bill. So, and we've actually got D's on both ends. So I'm going to hang on to that one. This bill's actually in pretty good shape as well. So that's kind of a neat find. Again, I don't think it's super valuable or anything, but you know, I've never hunted bills before, so we'll pull everything. Now, this is a true trinary bill here, 2013. We've got 011, and we've got like an overprint on the 1 there. 011-80888. So two repeaters. Well, I don't know what the right word there is. We've got a double 1, triple 8s, and only 3 digits make up the whole bill. That's kind of a unique serial number. And there is a fancy, just so you guys know, there is a fancy serial number website online. And you can plug in your note, and it'll tell you how fancy that serial number is. And if it's got any value, it'll kind of give you an idea of what you should look for if you were to try to sell it, which I think is kind of neat. At least last time I checked it, I thought it gave you a value. All right, third star note of the hunt, and strap number 4. Serial number doesn't look too fancy. It's a little low because it starts with a 0, and we've got some marks on it, but we'll check that out in the star note rarity finder. See another star note poking out here. A couple of bills later. Again, we're starting with that 0, and both of these are 2017s. So we'll check that one out as well. That does it for strap number 4. Okay, well, let's get into strap number 5. So this one would be really interesting. This would be a complete radar here if this one were a 3, because we'd have 378-33873. So if you were curious what a full radar meant, that's what a full radar would be. That would be really cool to find. More ink blotting there. I don't know, and it's also off-center cut just a little bit. You can see up here, much smaller bar than down there. We'll put that aside. It's like a miscut bill. This would have been a really nice birthday note had the 8 and the 0 been switched. Because a birthday note is where you can read it and it is a date, like 08-04-1968. Right? That would have been August 4th of 1968. And that can make a really cool birthday present. That's why they call it a birthday note for someone who was born on August 4th of 1968. But that 8's out of order, so we didn't quite get there. Still a neat bill. All right, well, let me put them up here so you can see them. We've got just 5 straps left. And again, I think the teller that had these must have been a little OCD or had some time on their hands, because most of the straps, the bills are all facing the right direction, which I think is weird if it were random. Got another poker note here. We got a full house, 88866. Kind of neat. Oh. Sequence bills. 66548, 549. We'll put those aside just because we found them in sequence from the bank. And look at that. Just a couple of notes later. 88866, 550. So we got the third one in order. Yeah, these look like these might be from somebody who got some fresh new bills. 2021s 132073777, 380, 389. This is going to be a whole little run. There's the 6. Yeah, these are all fresh bills. 5. Here's the 8. Oop. 8. There's the 8-7. There's the 8-9. There's the 9-0. There's the 9-2. 9394. So let me see if I can figure out how to get this in order. So that's all those bills. It's not a complete run, but our last one is the 13207,394. And again, we don't have every single bill, but we got most of them all the way back to 378. So I'll put those aside just because it is a complete run. Again, this happens. I've been to the bank and they've had full straps of brand new bills and they were completely sequential. So again, not that big a deal, but considering there's all this other circulated stuff in here, kind of neat to find. Oh, star note. Strap number, I think I said it was strap number 5 at the beginning of this. It's actually strap number 6. This is, I don't know, our 4th or 5th star note, I think. But one more for the hunt. We'll check that out a little bit later. There's another star note. 2017A. The last one was, I think, a 2013. So very cool. All right, well, we're getting into strap number 7, and let's see how this one goes. It's kind of a neat serial number, 331-22011, so all low digits with a couple of repeaters. We're going to hang on to that one. Check that in the fancy serial number checker. All right, so this is a really low serial number here. It's a 2017A, but you see we start with 3 zeros, so 54268. So that is a very low serial number. We'll hang on to that, and we'll check that out as well in the fancy serial number. I would love to find one that's got 4 or 5 zeros in front of it. That would be pretty cool. Oh, this would have been, actually, this is a trinary. We're going to hang on to this one, 877-88077. And again, we've got 3 repeating digits. That would have been really cool had that been an 8 or a 7 in the middle. Then we would have just like, I think they call it a binary bill. So definitely going to hang on to that. And that's going to do it for strap number 7. So getting into strap number 8, and we've already got a keeper right on top, or at least one we'll pull aside here. It's 2021, but we have quad 7s in the middle of the bill, so we'll hang on to that, or at least check the fancy serial number checker. Turn the correct way, and we're going to hang on to this one too. We got 5 4s in the middle of that one, so pretty cool. So we got another full house here. We'll check that one in the fancy serial number, 44000088. So lots of repeaters in there. Hang on to this one. We got 881155. So some repeating digits back to back to back. Check that out. All right, we're down to our last 2 straps. So let's get through strap number 9. All right, we got another trinary. I'll put this aside. We've only got 0s, 6s, and 2s in this guy. 2606, 2202. Kind of neat. 36A. All right, we got a star note. 2021 star note. So I don't remember how many star notes we're in, but we got a star note in strap number 9. All right, we're going to pull this one aside. We've without the 1, we would have a ladder here. It'd be an out of order ladder, but we have the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's just we have 2 number 1s. So we'll put that aside. See what the fancy serial number program tells us about that. Another trinary, 94440409. Put that aside. All right, 1995. Unfortunately, it is not the A series, but we are actually 1995 could be a web note, but I already know that it's not, and I think that is because And I've got to go back and look at it. When they're printed by sheets, one of the big things is that the plate number is down here in the lower right-hand corner of the bill. So you know that was made by a sheet, and I want to say this number appears a little bit differently. But I'll go back and refresh my memory. I'm going to put this aside just so we can talk about it a little bit more in the wrap-up. But 95 is one of the years that we want to look at for web notes, and we'll go through how you can tell whether it's a web note or not. But I think that's one of the telltale signs is if we've got that plate number down here, we know that it's not a web note. And our 10th and final strap. So this would be 1,000 $1 bills we've been through in this hunt. Oh, we got a star note and strap number 10. 2021 series. Got our star right over there on the side, so pretty cool. I actually get a lot of star notes and change, believe it or not. I think it's pretty funny how few we found in this $1,000 compared to how many I just get out in the wild when I get change. A lot of times I get $100 star notes when I turn in my $50, which is also kind of interesting. All right, we got another trinary here, 744-774-11. So only 1-4s and 7s in that serial number. Oh, look at this one. Almost 818181 63. I'm going to put that in the fancy note tool. I don't think it's a keeper, but I just want to see what it says about it. All right, well, that does it for strap number 10, and that is $1,000 worth of $1 bills. And I'm going to do a little research on the things I pulled, and I'll bring you back in for a wrap-up. Well, that's going to do it for our bill hunt, and I've kind of gone through and I've separated into piles all the things I pulled. And keep in mind, I'm going to end up returning a lot of this stuff back to the bank. I'll hang on to a few of the ones that I think are interesting to me, but some of these, they're not going to contain a whole lot of value outside of $1 unless you're really a collector of these types of bills. So we're going to start with the easy ones, which are star notes. We ended up with 8 individual star notes throughout the hunt. I don't know if I'm going to have shown you all of them throughout this video, but we did have 8 of them. Again, star notes are bills that are replacement notes for other bills that have been destroyed. So for every bill that gets destroyed, the mint creates another one and they put a star on it so they know it's a replacement bill. I've kept this one separate because this was the only one that had any kind of interesting rarity. First off, I think part of it is that it has almost a full ladder. You can see in here 0, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We do have an extra 6. It's unfortunate we didn't have a 1. And it was in a rarer run size. And I'll put that up on the screen for you. So this is one I'll probably go ahead and hang on to. The rest, I like finding these in my change, but I will end up taking them back to the bank simply because I just don't hang on to them. I will try to keep them for a few days, post this video in case there's anybody that wants to buy them. Let me know, make me an offer, but they're just circulated bills that are star notes. You guys can go get 100 or 200 in singles and probably find your own. Moving on from there, we have our lowest serial number that we found in the entire hunt. Again, not terribly low. It is a bill that's in really good shape, but we had 3 zeros at the front of the bill. And again, not something I'll hang on to. I'm really looking for something that's going to have 4 or 5 zeros in front of it. That would be something that I would hang on to. But I thought this was interesting. So if you get into bill hunting, I challenge you to find something with more than 3 zeros in front. Coming on down here, this is the whole stash, and there's about $25 or $30 in here. These were all bills that I got in circulated straps where they were sequential. So again, nothing special. But I did enjoy finding the sequential nature of these things, and I think these go backwards. So you see there was 550, 49, 48, and there were a few holes in there. So this one, it's L132073994, and there's the 3, and I think I have the 2 and the 1, and so on and so forth. So if you care about sequential bills, this would be something you could hang on to. Where do we go from here? This is the closest thing we had to a full ladder. This is actually even better than our star note. As you can see here, we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and unfortunately 2 zeros instead of a 0 and a 1. So if you're into like ladders or broken ladders, that's kind of an interesting bill. Down here, this was my entire stash of bills and I didn't even pull all of them out of the $1,000 we went through, that had at least one serial number that was darker than the others. And I looked that up, and this actually looks like it might be a, let's see here, 25234 752 753. So this is actually a sequence as well. But this is just a typical minting error. It's a minor minting error. It doesn't add any real value to the value of the dollar. And it's basically where, I guess, the plate just gets a little extra ink on one of the digits, and it's pretty common. Most of the ones that I found, it was typically in the third digit, and oftentimes if it was darker and up here, it was also darker down here, but not always. I'm not going to show you all of them, but you can see here, third digit has a 5, third digit's the 3, so on and so forth. It's a little bit darker than the rest of them. So I thought that was interesting, and I can't remember how many there are in here, but there was probably a good 10 or 12 of those. Then we get down to just the fancy serial numbers. And these three, according to the fancy serial number checker, were almost cool, or were I guess they were almost cool to cool. And a lot of times that has to do with repeating digits or being like trinaries, right? Here's another one actually where we almost again have a full ladder 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but we have the 1 duplicated. So here we had 818181, so I thought that was really, really cool, or almost cool, I guess. None of these that I'm going to hang on to, but these over here on the coolness factor, it rated them at, most of them at 97 to 98% plus. Most of these, it's because you had 4 or more repeated numbers, or like I was mentioning earlier in the video, they were like almost poker bills, right? You could make a full house, so you had 3 and 2. This was very rare because it's a trinary and we've got lots of repeating digits. And I'll just go through all these so you can see. We've got 5 1s on that bill, 4 2s. And actually, here is the full ladder, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I lied when I said that was my closest. This, actually, it's the broken ladder, and this is one I will hang on to for sure because I do like collecting these. Here we go, where we've got the minor mint mark or mint error there with the extra ink, and we've got 4 8s, 2 0s, 2 1s. And this just continues through here, so you can see each and every one of these that I pulled. 4 7s in the middle. And like I said, I'll throw some of the images of the fancy, the fancy meter for some of these on screen. The URL I'll also put on screen for you. It is mycurrencycollection.com. So anyway, I know this was new for me, and hopefully it was new for you, and you learned maybe just a little bit about this, and I just thought it was something different than coin roll hunting. And sorry to cut this in here. I meant to also talk about the web note. I only had one bill that was a potential web note. I forget which year it was. I think it might have been a 1993 or a 1995. And I accidentally threw that back in the bills before I took them back to the bank this weekend. But really, really quickly, the main way you can tell is that they're going to be in one of 3 years. So 1993, let me start over here. They're going to start in 1988A, 1993, and 1995. And the main difference is, rather than having this string of numbers here, you will have a digit kind of floating up here in the middle next to 1. And on a web note, when you look on the back, it will not have the plate number down here in the lower right-hand corner. You will have a number up here next to "In God We Trust." So it's really easy to tell if you have one. Just you have to know where the digit should be rather than where they show up on all sheet-fed bills. So that was something I did want to talk about. And of course, I didn't find any, but I'm very eager to do so. It's something I'll probably do again in the future. Unfortunately, I didn't find anything that to me would be so valuable that it'd make me do this all the time, but it was a nice change of pace. And I can tell you that every bank should have $1,001 bills. You shouldn't need a business account to do this. It should be really easy for you to do this type of hunt. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If there's something you would have rather see me do in here or something that I glazed over that you want me to go back over or do again in my next hunt, let me know in the comments down below, because like I said, it's the first time I've done this and I'm not sure completely what I'm doing, so you're learning along with me. If you're new to the channel and you like videos like this, make sure you check out my coin roll hunts. Make sure you click on that subscribe button and then click that little bell and select all so you get notified each and every time I drop a new video. I'd really appreciate it. Special shout out to my channel members. Thank you for supporting the channel each and every month. And with that, we're going to go ahead and close this one out. And unfortunately, I was at the bank this weekend and all of my coin orders did not come in. So I'm going to try to run around this week and find some coins to hunt. So with that, you guys take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.